hopefully everybody's coming in now, and I hope that you can all hear us. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us today for our expedition and a special destination presentation. And we are talking about two of my favorite places. So you'll have to forgive me as I try to quelch my enthusiasm just a tiny bit. But at the same time, I want to share it with you because I just love it so much. So, of course, Expedia Cruises, we are also Wine Club Cruises, and we're delighted that you are here today. We always like to say, work with those who've been there. And these are just some of my own personal pictures and one of the team down in Antarctica. And I have to say, having been to multiple times to these both of these destinations, I'm excited to tell you that the one picture there where I'm there with a crew member, if you can imagine, on Paul Gauguin, sailed with them way back in the day. My son was, I think, about 4 or 5. He's 29 now. And that same waiter remembered us from our first trip. And we'd been 3 times since, and every single time he was still there. And you see me eating some ice there while I was down with Atlas down in Antarctica. I didn't actually eat it, I have to say. It was just for the picture, but it was a lot of fun. But we had so many fun adventures, and this goes for my team as well. So many of our team here at Expedia Cruises have been to these destinations, have experienced these places. They know the little tips and tricks, so it's really important to work with those who have been there. We can answer questions and help prepare you in ways that others can't. So we want to invite questions. We always like to say that if we're doing our job right, we ask you a million questions. In this case, we're going to also ask you to ask us a million as well. And we look forward to answering them for you. When we talk about exploring expeditions, we think about those destinations. They can be all over the world, right? So we've talked about the Galapagos Islands. We're talking about Antarctica today. We're talking about the Arctic as well, excuse me, as well as thinking of Greenland and Iceland and some of these destinations that go up there to the north. We've even had some conversations about the Kimberley in Australia. And of course, now we're going to be including conversations today about the South Pacific, the Tahiti and the Cook Islands, Society Islands. All of these are wonderful destinations. A lot of the questions that we get are about the expedition levels. What's it going to take for me to go there? How am I going to enjoy it? Well, we like to remind you that there are different levels for everyone. And if you can basically get on and off a tender, if you can get on and off a Zodiac, you can pretty much experience both of these destinations or all of these destinations to a certain degree. And certain companies are better at different things than others. So when you ask us those great questions and we talk to you, let's talk about what it's going to take and what your expectations are so that when you go, we want to make sure that you enjoy these destinations to their absolute fullest. So then we, of course, have all the different ships that go there, right? We've talked about several different companies over the last few weeks, and your onboard experience is going to be important for us to understand as well what you were looking for. Are you looking for getting off in sweet luxury? Are you looking for the bare basics and the destination is the only thing that's important to you? Everything in between, the world is now our oyster and there's a ship for everyone. So we want to make sure that we do a good job of pairing you with the right experience so that again, you come home with the wow, telling us just what a spectacular adventure it was. And with both expedition and special destination, like we're going to talk about today, there's so much more included. And oftentimes, when anyone looks at a price for either expedition or these special destinations, they get a little bit of sticker shock thinking, oh, that might be a little bit more than what I thought it would be. I want to remind you, it's because so much more is included. We're talking about your shore excursions, which, when you think about it on many cruises, you'll come home and find that you've spent $2,000 on shore excursions. Here, they're included in your price. So when you think about the the drinks when you get back from your adventures and you want to have a cocktail, those are included. Many of your expedition gear or maybe your snorkeling gear, maybe it's the water sports activities, lots of these things are included. They are things that you would normally think of paying for. So why am I saying all this? Because it's important for you to understand just what is included. And when we have those great conversations, then we talk about that so that you're clear about what you can expect and what you're going to receive, all that's bundled into the pricing of the expedition and special destination voyages. So, our team, it's really a great honor for me to lead this sales team because they know their stuff. And that's important to me. I've been doing this for over 40 years. And with that, I can say if I'm as passionate today as I was 40 years ago, imagine the thrill that my team has that we get to talk to you every day about these great destinations. We are a very full service agency, right? Air, land, sea, you name it, we do it. And we have experienced consultants. So many of them have been there, and those who haven't necessarily been to that destination, they work with a team member who has. So that means you have a whole group of people who have all the right answers for you, and we can make sure that you understand everything that's going to go on with your vacation. And of course, experience does matter. We've talked about that, but we are also local. So we have consultants primarily here in the Bay Area, although we do have consultants all over the US, but they are all here part of our team, and we are based in Petaluma, California. So you're not talking to overseas, you're not having to worry about where your conversations are going. We're right here, and we're looking forward to speaking with you. So with that, I'm going to introduce our two partners that we're speaking with today. We are excited because we have Lisa from Paul Gauguin Cruises, who's going to talk about those warm, tropical, lovely, imagine it, just imagine the blue water of Tahiti. You can hear, I get so excited. I'm ready to be there now. And then, of course, we have Nikki with us from Atlas Ocean Voyages. Both of these companies have small, small ships. It's going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced. The Atlas Ocean Voyages we're going to talk about the destinations that are a little bit chillier today. We're going to talk about the Arctic and then a little bit about the Antarctic. But again, destinations that are oftentimes on a bucket list and now are more widely available. And we are just thrilled. Lisa, maybe I can ask you to go ahead and share your screen. I'm going to stop sharing mine and let you share yours and take us to Tahiti.
I would love to. Okay, let's see how we can get started here. Can you see?
Now we can. You're
Okay,
on.
this is good. I love when everything works out. So my name is Lisa. I'm with Paul. I'm Director of Sales for Paul Gauguin Cruises, and I am just as excited to tell you about this beautiful destination and this beautiful ship. It's just a wonderful way to visit this destination. Here at Paul Gauguin, we are one ship, one destination. We sail the islands of Tahiti. This ship sails in the South Pacific as well. We'll talk about some itineraries that we go to. And I always want to start by saying Yorana, which is hello in Tahitian. You can actually see how beautiful this is and this destination that I just really want everybody to experience. Uh, okay, so I always start by saying, just to remind people where Tahiti is, because, we don't have geography just like planted in our head always. So I just to keep in mind where it is and how easy it is to get to Tahiti. It is only an 8-hour flight from Los Angeles. Just as Hawaii is about a 6-hour flight, I will tell you that with flight time, another movie and a drink, you can be in this beautiful destination of Tahiti. It's absolutely stunning, very easy to get to. So we always like to remind people on how easy it is to get to Tahiti in the South Pacific, French Polynesia. And of course, speaking of Hawaii, I'm going to put in some frequently asked questions in here. A lot of people want to know, how is French Polynesia different from Hawaii? How is this beautiful destination? Because a lot of people have been to Hawaii and been to Hawaii many times. Well, I will tell you, this is one of the biggest differences here. You will never see a beach that looks like this. The number of tourists that visit Hawaii in 7 days are the same number of tourists that visit Tahiti in 1 year. So it is just that untouched destination. You will never have an overcrowded beach. It's just absolutely stunning. Now, why should you go on Paul Gauguin Cruises? Okay, so this ship is an intimate small ship. but it is purpose built for this destination. It has a shallow draft, and it's able to go in closer to the destination. So you can just have a short tender ride over to these beautiful islands. As you can see, it's like about a 17-foot draft that you can get to these islands very, very, very easily. And we like to say this overwater bungalow sails. So what do we mean by that? So, Tahiti is the birthplace of the overwater bungalow. Of course, there's a lot of other islands that have them now, but the very birthplace of the overwater bungalow is here in Tahiti. So we like to say this overwater bungalow sails, and what exactly do we mean by that? See, 70% of this ship has balconies. And when we say balconies, we mean veranda balconies. You see how this young lady here is standing outside on her balcony and enjoying all of these beautiful 50 shades of blue that you can just see sailing in the South Pacific. So if you need a veranda balcony, you need it in this destination. So let's talk about Paul Gauguin. 330 guests. That's about 165 staterooms there. So it's a very intimate, very small. We're very proud of the guest to crew ratio is 1 to 1.5. So that could even be 1 to 1 on a ship that's not so full, if it's not so full. But I'm telling you, 165 staterooms. The earlier, the better. Nice, spacious suites that I will show you here that you can see. Very, very spacious with private balconies. But I'm going to talk about our secret sauce, our real secret sauce. A lot of times people travel and the sun and sand here is absolutely beautiful. However, our secret sauce is we want to make you feel welcome, make you feel the destination as soon as you get on board. So what do we have? We have our local Tahitian host on board. We call them our Legogans, Legogines. Not only do they sail with you the whole time, they teach you different things about their culture. So, we want to travel to learn more. So you definitely feel as though you're in the destination. You'll have shows available to you. They'll teach you Perero tying, crafts, arts and crafts. So it's just a wonderful way to actually feel the destination as we're on the ship. Exceptional service. Just like KK said, they will know your name and remember you. They will know your name within 24 hours. They're very welcoming. They want to welcome you there, but it's not stuffy or pretentious or anything. There's no ball gowns needed. Very casual. Of course, no beach wear or anything in our dining, but it's just absolutely exceptional service. So plenty of deck space. So this, like I said, this ship is built for the destination. So you never want to feel overcrowded. The destination is never overcrowded, and we do not want you to feel like that on the ship. You don't have to save a space or a spot by the pool. There's never a wait for an elevator. We spend full days in port. We also have exclusive retreats specifically for Paul Gauguin guests. Okay, so this is another treat that makes it really unique. We have what we call in the island of Taha, we have what we call our Motu Mahana Day. And really, it's a private island that is specifically for our guests. And we put on a big party in Taha. We have a great barbecue there. The Legogans and Legogines we have are there. We have local vendors that come out to the island where you can buy different arts and crafts and souvenirs there. And as you can see in the top right corner here, you do not even have to leave the water for a drink. We have a floating bar there if you just want to just enjoy drinks and coconuts or whatever you want to consume. It is definitely included in the price. Now, we also have another exclusive retreat opportunity in the island of Bora Bora. So this is more of a quiet, relaxing beach day because it's very serene. It's absolutely stunning. The waters of Bora Bora and just the mountains. You can see Mount Otemoanu. There's no facilities here. So that private beach day is definitely because you do spend 2 full days in Bora Bora with us. As you can see, you can just enjoy the waters here, see the white sand, see Mount Otemoanu here. It is just an absolutely dream for taking pictures for Facebook and all of your friends back home. But I'm telling you, you have to experience this destination. And again, like KK said, it's all inclusive. So, what's included in the price? Because, sometimes all inclusive means different things to different people. It might slide some things that aren't included. So, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you the things that aren't included. There's a couple of things, but what's really included and the value of what you get is all your meals on board. There's no separate packages you have to buy. All dining options are included on board. We have 3 restaurants included. Complimentary room service, which is my personal favorite, actually. Absolutely included in the price. Beverages included in the price. So we say beverages, beer, wine, soft drinks, cocktails, mocktails if you do not drink, high tea, lattes, all included in the price. Onboard gratuities included in the price. Complimentary Wi-Fi, so you can post those pictures as soon as you get back to the ship, is available throughout the ship as well. Now, I like when we're talking about inclusiveness, I like to talk about value and what you get. Let's not just get a sticker shock price, but Tahiti, the islands, to get to Bora Bora, most people when they think of Tahiti, they think of Bora Bora. So to get to Bora Bora, you'd have to do the inter-island flights. There's packing, there's unpacking. So it's about 7 nights. You get 2 islands. With Paul Gauguin, you embark and disembark in Papeete, and you can get 5 islands in 7 nights. So you can see here the inclusiveness, also what's included. If anyone has ever gone to Tahiti and spent $50 on that burger, they know that they will appreciate the inclusiveness here of everything that we have included in the price. So let's talk about this beautiful ship and what is life like on board. 3 dining options, completely included in the price. I can't say that enough. La Toile, La Veranda, and La Grill. This is La Toile. This is the main dining restaurant. We also have La Veranda, which is our French-inspired restaurant. Reservations are needed to begin. With 330 guests, it's never a problem to get reservations on board, as well as La Grill. La Grill transforms at night into this beautiful alfresco dining. I like to take my own pictures, as you can see here as well, just like KK. Beautiful alfresco dining. It just transforms at night, of course, weather permitting. So that's just absolutely stunning way to have dinner alfresco there. Now, entertainment. We do have entertainment on board. We have nightly entertainment on board. After spending a full day in the island and having dinner, you can also enjoy a show in our grand salon. We also have port talks here and lectures available. The spa. Remember, I told you, I said what would not be included. So our spa is not included. However, if you really need a fitness center, we do have a fitness center that is available and included in the price. What else is included in the price to enjoy your vacation? Non-motorized water sports, paddle boards, as you can see, the stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, and snorkel gear. So you can go to our water sports marina here, grab your snorkel gear, keep them throughout the duration of the cruise. And you remember those exclusive retreats I just talked about? Those will be a perfect opportunity for you to do some snorkeling on those private islands there, just for Paul Gauguin guests. So that's a great opportunity, or wherever you would like. Scuba diving. Okay, there is a cost to scuba diving, but I really will tell you, as a scuba diver, the beauty of this, not only is you can see how many islands did we visit, you can have sometimes 2 to 3 dives per day. If you're PADI certified, we are a PADI certified operation. Our dive masters are right on board. You can rent the equipment right there on board, and that saves time. So you can go and see more and experience more scuba. As you can see directly from the water sports marina, it takes you there to the dive site, saves you time. Absolutely stunning way to scuba dive. So scuba divers, if you want to scuba dive in this absolutely beautiful location, this is the way to do it. Now, people don't think about Tahiti and kids, but we do have a kids program. Ages 6 to 15. It's called the Moana Explorer Program. We partner with Te Mana o Te Moana. It's a South Pacific Tahitian conservatory. And I will tell you, it's shore excursions for the kids. It operates in the summer months and the last two sailings of the year. So just plenty of activities for the kids to go. And we do have some triple staterooms available, and kids 17 and under with a paying adult can travel at no cost. So let's talk about the beautiful islands of Tahiti. Because, you know, Tahiti, when you say Tahiti, most people think of Bora Bora, they think of the Society Islands here, but actually Tahiti is 118 islands. And I love this slide because it shows you how the islands spread across the South Pacific in 5 archipelagos. And if you can see how far it spreads, that's all of Europe and the islands there underlay all of Europe here. So 5 archipelagos. Now we travel to 3 of the 5 archipelagos. You fly into Papeete, Tahiti, Bora Bora, Moorea, Huahine, Taha here, Society Islands. We also go to the Tuamotus. And fun fact, Tuamotus, if you like snorkeling and scuba diving, these are the islands for you. Also, the Marquesas. The Marquesan Islands are really, really off the beaten path. Very easy to get to with Paul Gauguin, of course. We do have a 14-night sailing. And if you are out there and you're checking off those UNESCO World Heritage sites, this year, the Marquesas, all the islands of the Marquesas have been named as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Another fun fact. We don't go to the Austria or the Gambier Islands, those remote islands. However, we do go to the Cook Islands. We go to Fiji and Tonga. So we have, we have this one ship. We sail year round. Our schedule is set through 2026. So please talk to your Expedia travel agent so you can get the timing of when you can go. And let me briefly tell you about our itineraries. So this is our core itinerary, this 7-night itinerary. We try to keep this into pretty much everything that we do because it keeps the flight simple. Round trip Papeete. Remember I talked about that 8-hour flight, LA to Papeete. Once you leave Papeete, you can go to Huahine, Taha, 2 full days in Bora Bora and 2 full days in Moorea. As you'll see, we'll keep that in pretty much everything that we do. We do have another 7-night, however, that we added the island of Raiatea in. We're called more Tahiti and the Society Islands, and we take a day away from Moorea. So if you want to see more islands, this is the itinerary for you in 7 nights. Now, scuba divers and snorkelers, hello, the Tuamotus, Rangiroa and Fakarava. Again, round trip Papeete, so you keep those same Society Islands in there, and then you get to, these are your low-lying atolls that have nice coral reefs, so just beautiful marine life that you can just go see along with these white sand beaches. Speaking of beautiful white sand beaches, we also go to the Cook Islands. We keep it round trip Papeete again, but we leave Tahiti and do the Cook Islands along with the Society Islands, Aitutaki and Rarotonga. And all these islands have different personalities and they're different experiences, so you can go and see the different cultures and different experiences. This is one of the few itineraries where we go into Papeete, out of Fiji, or into Fiji, out of Papeete, depending on the itinerary, but it is a 14-night where you get Fiji. You also get a little Cook Islands in there, and Fiji, Tonga, and again, those Society Islands. The Marquesas. So you're checking off those World Heritage sites, get those Marquesas in. This one is round trip Papeete. And I want to say the Marquesas are very different, very jungle-like, absolutely beautiful and stunning, and very remote. And this is the best way to get there on Paul Gauguin. If you want to extend your stay, and you always wanted to see that overwater bungalow, where they started here in Tahiti. We do have packages available for pre's and post if you want to get some land opportunity in. Papeete is just an embarkation and a disembarkation city for us. So if you really want to experience more, I suggest a pre or post there. This is who we partner with there: Tahiti, Hilton, and Pearl Resorts. We also have we partner with the Intercontinental in Bora Bora and the Sofitel in Moorea. So if you really want to get that overwater bungalow in, or just extend some more land, we do have packages available. Solo travelers, if we have any solo travelers there, we do have some zero single supplement sailings. These are example of some dates, but again, work with your travel agents. We're always changing dates, but we do have dates available and a wide variety of different itineraries as well for the zero single supplement. And you can get a zero single supplement on category C, which is that balcony stateroom that we talked about that you absolutely need. Now that you're booking with Expedia, you get $100 per guest shipboard credit on all sailings. So that is your amenity, and that will help you because if you want to do something like have a spa day or do, some type of shore excursion or even scuba diving. So this will help you out with that. Everything is pretty much included, but if you wanted to do a little extra, Expedia, they're great partners. We're very happy to be partners with them, and we appreciate them as well. So you guys are in good hands here, especially with this office. You have people who have experience, as KK said, they'll go with those people who have experience. They definitely have experience here. So this is a great opportunity for you. And I did my thing under 20 minutes, which was my goal. I wanted to leave some time for Nikki. I wanted to end up by saying maruru, which is thank you in Tahitian, and I really appreciate it. And thank you, KK. I appreciate your time and your partnership as well.
Oh, Maururu to you. And of course, we do love the Tahitian Islands. And if you want to go ahead and stop your share, and Nikki, you can start yours. I have to tell you that there are so many personal stories that we could begin to tell you, each one of us, about. For me, it was on the Motu. And Nikki, go ahead and start your share. Um, it's when I think about being on the Motu by Bora Bora, and you said it's a peaceful day. It is so peaceful there that every time I've been there, I remember taking the snorkel gear, which, as you said, is included, going out and just floating right there, and having the stingrays just lovingly float directly underneath you. They're just kind of floating by. There's nothing excitement going on, but it's just beautiful. It's very calming. It's quite spectacular. So,
The
oh,
marine life is amazing there. I'm a scuba diver, and I want to just say this really quickly. I went snorkeling the last time because I went with my best friend, and she does a scuba dive. So I went snorkeling with her, and everything that I saw scuba diving, I saw snorkeling. It was amazing. It's just
yes.
marine life there is just so stunning.
Yes, yes. No, you're absolutely right. You are. So again, Maruru, thank you so much for that. For that, Nikki,
Yes.
um, let me introduce you. I do think you need to change to presentation mode for us.
Oh, okay. It's gone to that screen. How?
Yeah.
Of course it did.
It
Ah,
has, yes.
okay. Let's see.
And so while you're working on that one,
Let
hopefully,
me just stop share a second and I will fix it.
sure. Well, and in the meantime, I can share with you that we sailed again to Antarctica, my second time down there, this spring with Atlas Ocean Voyages. And my husband, for his birthday, actually did the polar plunge. So, as crazy as that sounded to me, that was a bucket list for him. And I love how, with each of these destinations, we can find those little things that are special to each one of us, that's important to do. So, with that, tell us all about this wonderful, intimate yachting expedition aboard Atlas Ocean Voyages.
Well, good evening, everyone. I know that Lisa gave you a very warm start to the evening. So now I'm going to take you to two amazing destinations where we definitely get a little cooler, and we sail to these wonderful, oh, that's interesting. Oh, here we go. I was like, oops. So we do a year-round expedition program, but today it's all about our polar expeditions in Antarctica and the Arctic. So a little bit of let's get our situation here. As we, I hope we're all aware, Arctic is in the far north, and we've got Antarctica down in the south, and they couldn't be two different destinations. So Antarctica, one of the least inhabited remote land masses in the world. For most people, it is a seventh continent, a bucket list item. The only people that live there are the research scientists, and most of them leave when we approach that long, dark, cold winter. And then we're there for about 5 months of the year. And then we're up in the Arctic in what I would call our traditional summer months. I'm sorry, I'm going to back up. We're in Antarctica from November through the end of March, which is their summer. And then we transition our vessels and we spend some time up in the Arctic, really during what we think of our traditional summer months. And unlike the Antarctic, which is really an unpopulated destination, the Arctic has had a population there for thousands of years with the indigenous people. So two very different areas. I always say that people become polar obsessed. They go to one destination and then they have to check off their bucket list for the second destination. So I thought I'd start by showing you World Voyager and really sort of setting your scenario. This is taken earlier this year. This is in Disco Bay, one of the highlights of a Greenland expedition. So you can get a feel for just how stunning Mother Nature is when we're either in the Arctic or Antarctica. And that is World Voyager. World Voyager's got two sisters. They look identical, World Navigator and World Traveler. And they're all state-of-the-art, polar class rated, ice class rated vessels. We've got that hybrid propulsion. We're in an area where we are extremely conscious of the wildlife, the sea mammals. So we're very, very conscious of that. And I have to point out to you that top picture, Water's Edge. Water's Edge sits about 30 feet from the surface of the ocean. So it's an amazing place to be, to watch the world go by, whether you're in one of our warm water destinations or here with us in a polar region. So we're going to talk about the Arctic first of all, and I want to just let you know what we include when we sail in the Arctic. And the Arctic for us is really the landmass that we all probably know as Svalbard, and then also when we go up to Greenland as well. So just like Lisa, you may look at the price and go, oops, and then when we break everything down, it becomes really apparent what a great value it is for you. My favorite character for us to see when we're up in the Arctic is, of course, those polar bears. But we do include, as of 2026, we're going to include a pre-cruise hotel stay for you, either in New York or Oslo, and I'll explain why I'm saying New York. We do include the Zodiac landings, the safaris, the polar plunge, which I have had, I'll say pleasure. It's also a shock to do in Antarctica. And you get to keep those lovely green parkas. You probably saw some of KK's pictures earlier, and I'll show you that too. But I wanted to give you some sort of like ideas of how different the Arctic does look. Everything from the calving glaciers that we see when we're sailing, and then just some of the really different sort of scenery that you'll see depending on where you are in the Arctic. A lot of it is what we see there is the tundra. And we do see that picture to the right, you can see that is in one of the areas in Greenland when we're sailing through the fjords. So don't just think of it as ice, although it is covered by ice pretty much year round, the ocean. Even during the summer, 50% of the ocean is surrounded and frozen. So we can have some challenges at times. So if you ever look at one of our expedition itineraries, you might see that it says Captain's Choice. And that's because really on one of our polar expeditions, you have to be flexible. Flexible is the name of the game. We have an itinerary planned, but we have to adjust as Mother Nature dictates to us. So polar bears. We are seeing them more in the Arctic than we've ever seen them before. The Arctic is going to start to restrict. Many of us as expedition companies, they restrict starting in 2025. And that is a good thing, just like all of us sort of have a lot of rules and restrictions that we follow. We're really trying to save the wildlife, the mammals, the marine animals. So polar bears, they are a predator for man. So we do take some different precautions when we're in the Arctic as to when we're in Antarctica. So you will see our expedition team, because we have about 13 expedition team members on board with us. They are carrying guns more as a scare tactic than anything else. But we are, and here's our wonderful green jackets that I mentioned earlier, what we include when we're sailing on a polar expedition. So most of our expeditions do start in Oslo. We will fly you on a charter flight up to Svalbard, sorry, to Longyearbyen, and we're starting that journey around Svalbard. Polar expedition team on board with you. We do include the polar plunge. We will make the landings when we can. And then if we can't make a landing, we are using the safaris, doing a Zodiac safari for you. The polar plunge is something that is very, very controlled. You are harnessed in so that if you do panic, we can pull you out as quickly as possible. I don't know why my my slides jumped out of order there, but let's go back to some of the other wildlife that we might see when we're in the Arctic. So polar bears is the huge draw that everyone is looking for. Arctic foxes, very rare. You're very lucky if you see an Arctic fox. Reindeer, and then obviously the musk oxen. I will say you probably have a better chance of seeing them in Greenland than you do around the Svalbard area. And again, walruses and seals. So there's an island with the name of Muffin that sits off the landmass of Svalbard, and the walrus population was almost extinct here. So Muffin has done a huge part in rehabilitating the walruses, encouraging the population. So again, we're very conscious of them when we're sailing. We're looking for the harp seals. We're looking for the bearded seals, the ringed seals. We see a lot of beluga whales up here. And actually, when I say what we're normally hearing is them chattering. They're known as the gossips of the sea. They like to talk to each other all the time. So on all of our expeditions, marine life and bird life plays a big part in your overall experience. My favorite bird, the puffins, we see those up in the Arctic too as well. So if you're a bird watcher, if you're there for the wildlife, just the amazing scenery, then you'll have a super experience. And also in the Arctic and the Norwegian fjords, I mentioned that we've got this sort of permafrost and a lot of the territory is tundra, but you'll be amazed during the middle of the summer how many wildflowers are growing, covering immense areas. I feel like Heidi when I'm running through all that flowers when she's up. I know she was in the Alps, but I get that same kind of feeling with all these beautiful flowers that we see when we're in the Arctic. Couple of itineraries. This is one of our most popular itineraries that we do, as I mentioned. Charter flight from Oslo to Longyearbyen. We'll start your sailing around the landmass that we know as Svalbard. So that's a very popular itinerary that we do. And then Iceland to Greenland or Greenland to Iceland. And this is where New York comes in for us. When we fly into Kangerlussuaq, which is the airport on Greenland, I don't know if you realize, but it's only about a 4.5-hour flight from New York. So we charter a 737 just for our guests. And either we will fly you into Greenland to start your expedition, and you'll sail around the various areas, go to Disco Bay, that wonderful picture I started off with World Voyager, and then you'll either end in Iceland, or you do the reverse, where you start in Iceland, you end your expedition in Greenland, and we will fly you back to New York. A couple of options that you have there. We have many, but I just wanted to show you a couple of what's available for you. And then 5 months of the year, we're in Antarctica. So very similar operation. The vast majority of what we do in Antarctica is out of Ushuaia. So we do include a pre-night hotel for you in Buenos Aires. We charter a 737, again, only our guests to take you down to Antarctica. And full expedition team on board with us too as well. Again, making the Zodiac landings, sailing either 9 nights is our minimum. I've highlighted our 11-night sailing, particularly the sailing on February the 6th of 2026. This is the Expedia North Bay hosted sailing that Lisa's going to be hosting for you. We've got some great pricing on this sailing for you. It is World Traveler that we're using, and we will, I say will, because again, we are very dictated by ice flow and safety condition, but in theory, we will cross the Antarctic Circle on this sailing. And like most navigators, most captains, we celebrate those experiences. So we will celebrate crossing the Antarctic Circle. I know KK has a nice flyer to talk about with you at the end of the presentation. But those green polar jackets that you see, I was going to put my green polar jacket on tonight, but I, like you, most of you are probably living in the Northern California area. It's 80 degrees today, so I thought I'd swelter. But that green jacket is yours to keep. And we also allow you to borrow the boots that we have on board the vessel. Expedition team on board that will be out with you making those landings, giving you some wonderful talks and lectures, not just about the explorers that came before us all, but maybe the life cycle of the penguins, because we really go through the birth to the growth to adulthood of a penguin in a very short period of about 5 months. And it's really quite funny to see them in their different sort of life cycles as they move through, birth to those fluffy downing feathers to when they lose those downy feathers. So we do see amazing scenery. Again, some of these pictures were taken from my experience in Antarctica last year, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how breathtaking this destination is. And how small we look against some of the majestic scenery that we're seeing. We are there in their summer months. It's probably not as cold as you expect it to be. Those polar jackets are pretty heavy. You will be wearing your waterproofs too as well, so come prepared. And we have packing lists and suggestions of what you need to bring. And of course, our penguins, whenever we make a landing, there's typically 2 options. And one of them will be, walk a couple of 100 feet and you'll be in a penguin colony. And the second option might be, the expedition team has mapped out a hike. It's about 1 mile. It's going to gradually increase. But when you get to the very top, you're going to have this wonderful view over Antarctica. The penguins, they are very inquisitive. We as humans should stay 15 feet away from them. They do not understand that. So they are very, very inquisitive. They're a lot of fun to watch too as well. So you will get a chance to see a lot of different species down there. I've shown you the different penguin types that we typically see. If you're looking to see those big guys, the emperors or the kings, then you really need to do one of our longer Antarctica sailings, which will take you both to the Falklands and South Georgia, and South Georgia being one of the most pristine islands in the world that is in recovery. They are very, very big on their conservation. We see a lot of the gentoos, we see the chin straps. So our expedition team will point out the differences for you and make sure you have plenty of opportunities to take pictures and really share with your friends and family and talk about what an amazing experience it was. Now, here's my character that I love to hate, that leopard seal. He is a predator for the penguins. We do see them sort of sunning themselves out on the ice floe when they've just had a feeding. So be warned for them. They are pretty, they've got a lot of teeth and they're very large, actually. They're much larger than perhaps you think they are. And then talking about large, last time I was in Antarctica, we had a wandering albatross behind us for a long time. Never seen a wingspan on a bird quite as large as I did. But again, expedition team will be pointing those wonderful birds, the seals, the whales, the dolphins. We do have dolphins down in the Antarctic waters too. So it's a great spot for those marine wildlife. So I want to show you a little bit about the vessels because we call them expedition yachts. I showed you World Voyager earlier. And I mentioned that World Traveler, and I'm talking about World Traveler because that is the vessel that's going to be doing the Antarctica sailing that Lisa's going to be hosting. They're sister ships, so you know one, you know them all. And just like Lisa mentioned, we do have a very comprehensive, we don't like to say all-inclusive, we like to say always included. As you can see, a very long list of inclusions. We have 24-hour room service, including alcohol. All of our suites come with butler service. We sail with less than 200 people. So when we're in Antarctica, we sail with 174 passengers. When we're in the Arctic, we sail with about 180. We do our version of afternoon tea too as well. If you're familiar with the store L'Occitane, you can see that down on my list there, we have their bath products in all their staterooms and suites. And they also operate a spa. A spa treatment would not be included, as you can see right there. If you also wanted to upgrade your Wi-Fi package, we have the Starlink systems on all of our vessels. We have what I like to call a social media, check your email type package. So if you're going to be a heavy user of Wi-Fi, you may need to upgrade your Wi-Fi package. Suite accommodations, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview so you had a feel. We are what I like to say relaxed luxury, so no formal dress codes. Our service at mealtimes is very friendly, but it is not stuffy. We believe that you're on an expedition, you're there to have a great time. However, I always say to people, this is your vacation. If you're coming on board for a special wedding anniversary or a big birthday and you want to dress up for dinner, have at it, but you do not need to bring your tuxedos or your formal gowns. Our balcony or our veranda accommodations, that's what we have the most of on board, 270 square feet. And I just want to show you something. When I go to the next slide, have a look at the seating area on the balcony accommodations, and then look how much bigger it gets when we go to our Horizon staterooms. If you've ever sailed on a riverboat before and you've had one of these, as we call them, Juliet balconies, the button to press to get the top half of that window to completely drop down is beside your bed. But what happens is the balcony spaces come into the interior of the room. So you get a little bit more space. People really love this stateroom category when they're in the polar regions. I think a lot of people realize that they may not always be out on their veranda, particularly when we're sailing across the Drake Passage. So they like that they've got a little bit more interior space for their privacy and their comfort. And I mentioned Water's Edge. This is just a great spot to be. What you can't see, but what I really like when we're in the polar regions is running around sort of, if you could imagine at the base of that white cover that you're seeing, the roof, we've got a row of wooden benches, and we actually keep those heated when we're in the polar regions. Atlas Lounge, big social space for us. This is where we do our check-in. When you come on board, you sit down, we serve you a complimentary drink, we're passing out hors d'oeuvres. Our staff will come to you as a couple or a group, however you've come on board, and we will check you in our Atlas Lounge. It is a big social space, day or night. Full picture windows. I feel like a flight attendant. Full picture windows either side of the vessel. There is a bar here too as well. And this, to me, this is the Dome Observation Lounge. This is taken from World Voyager. Again, 270-degree views around the vessel. This is a very, very popular space to be after dinner. We do have a piano player up here. Our cruise directors are multi-talented, meaning most of them have had a singing career, and they will do sort of a Broadway-style cabaret show for you too as well. And our theatre, clearly we're not doing doing Broadway style productions here, but this is where we're giving our lectures. We do play movies here too as well. You can watch the movie in the comfort of your suite or stateroom, but do know that popcorn is available if you want to come down and watch whatever movie, and obviously listen to the lectures that we're doing with the expedition team. I wanted to end with my favorite picture that I took when I was in Antarctica. I was heading back to the Zodiacs, and I happened to see these 5 penguins. And it almost looked like someone had literally posed them and said, you need to be ready to have your picture taken. Because they're all doing something different, as you can see, other than this guy up front who obviously did not want his picture taken. But I think you can see in that picture, like how, their feathers. I mean, just the attention to detail. You can see the couple of the penguins where they're going through that catastrophic molt. So these are young penguins. They've lost all their downy feathers, and they lose their downy feathers sort of starting in February and March, but they don't lose them all at once. So it was quite funny to see them, because some of them looked like they had like feather boas around them. Some of them looked like they had mohawks, but this is their time where they learn to fish, to swim, and to survive, because when we leave Antarctica at the end of March, it is a long, dark, cold winter. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for Expedia North Bay. It is always a pleasure to work with you. I am going to stop my share and give it back to KK. And here we go, KK.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, we are very grateful. I am so excited to hear all these things. It took me right back, every single one of those images. And I love how, again, you have your stories, I have my stories. And someone once asked me, well, why do you keep going back to these destinations? Because they're never the same. And I can't tell you how many times I've been to Tahiti. I've literally lost count. And to the poles, I will say that, again, it's been a couple of times each. And yet every single time it's so uniquely different that I'm ready to go back again tomorrow. They're that exciting. And I do love how there's opportunities with all of these destinations to learn. So you can go and choose to be, you can be there and just enjoy the experience on a level where you want to say, I just want to see it, I want to absorb it, I want to just love this. Or you can say, I want to really learn, and I want to engage with, whether it be the Les Gauguins, and they're going to tell you the stories and the history of their families and how many generations they've been in Tahiti, or even involved with the Paul Gauguin. Or you can have the same experience when you're standing and suddenly you see those birds and you say, what are they? And the expedition leader is right there and says, oh, wow, we're seeing the Arctic tern. And this is the only one that, this and this and this. It's just really exciting. So I can never stop talking about these destinations. So I will, as best as I can. I do want to share with you a quick image here, because we do have, as Nikki mentioned, and I loved how, I'm just going to quickly clarify. We've been using the name Lisa a lot. There are 2 Lisas. We have Lisa from Paul Gauguin, and then we have Lisa from Expedia Cruises. And Lisa's on the webinar with us here tonight from Expedia Cruises. She's going to be hosting the sailing in 2026. And there's a huge savings at the moment. The savings start at $2,500 and they go up to like $4,000. So we have huge amenity savings for you at the moment. There's some extra perks that come along with that too. There's some onboard credit that you can have fun with, whether it's to up your Wi-Fi, or possibly explore maybe doing the camping trip on the ice in Antarctica. So there's lots of opportunities. And we invite you, of course, to either join one of our hosted sailings. We do have the one to Tahiti in 2026 as well. So lots of opportunities. More importantly, when is it good for you to go? And Nikki spoke about how there's different seasons for the penguins. My goal has been to now be there for each of their different seasons. And so I've been there during the egg laying and the chicks just hatching. And I've also been there when the chicks are old enough to now step away from mom and dad, and molting. And boy, they are completely different, all of them. So somebody says, when's the best time? Well, depends on what you want to see, for which time that you're going to go if there's only one. So lots of great opportunities for us to answer questions for you. And I do see that there are some questions in the chat box, so I'm going to try to address a couple of them. And then James, if you see any, perhaps you can share with me as well. Um, I see here a question that says, I'm interested in going to Svalbard. Okay, so we're talking about the polar region here. Well, I should say the Arctic polar region, right? Because there's two of them. And what are the chances of me seeing a polar bear? Nikki, you want to address that?
What are the chances of seeing a polar bear? You know, like most expeditions, it is all, how shall I say, I personally feel the last season, the season that we've just ended, that we had a very good season of seeing polar bears. And I will say it is sad that we're seeing more polar bears. And that is because, as you all probably have read or seen or heard, the polar bears are looking longer and harder for their food. So we see them more active in the ocean. They're excellent on land, extremely fast on land, and they are fantastic swimmers. So based on what we saw this season, I would say I'm going to go 50-50.
Well, and I have to add to that too. I agree. We've had so many guests go this last year, and I would actually say the vast majority all saw polar bears. And it was they have been very close to civilization, I guess I would say. Um, but there's so much more to see. Um, one of the other questions here is about the zodiac touring that you mentioned, and I just want to quickly address that. So the question is, what might you see on one of these zodiac tours? Um, Probably one of my favorites. Well, I have a couple, but one of my favorites was all of a sudden the zodiac driver turns off the engines, and we're all kind of looking around like, what's going on? And he said, just listen. And all of a sudden, everything, of course, became exceptionally quiet. But then we heard this. And as soon as we heard it, we could also smell it. But what was happening is there was a whole pod of whales with their calves around us in the same bay. And so just sitting there quietly in the middle of this bay, we saw over a dozen of the moms, and they were just spewing, and then they were lifting their little calves up. And it was so moving that it almost brought you to tears. It was just one of those moments where you couldn't make this up. It was just overwhelming, and really understanding how we are the teensy tiniest in this big environment. It was spectacular. And of course, many of the iceberg pictures that you can see, if you look through my photos, they're all taken from my iPhone. There was actually a class on board during the crossing of the Drake. And yes, I've crossed the Drake multiple times now. I'm knocking on wood. I've had Drake Lake pretty much each time, or very, very calm seas, which is great. Um, so, and I see down in the list there, that's one of the questions is, I understand that Atlas offers a flyover now if I don't want to cross the Drake.
That is correct. We have limited options to fly the Drake Passage. It works slightly different. When we fly the Drake, we're coming out of Punta Arenas in Chile, and we're landing on King George Island on the Air Force Base owned by the Chilean government. So it's a little bit of a different start. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I never like to be negative, but I do like to be transparent. It does happen sometimes that the weather is so bad that even the aircraft cannot leave. So it is not a given that the aircraft is going to be able to fly. And that did happen to us last year. We should have left on the 19th of December. The weather was too bad for the aircraft to get up and fly, and so we had to take everyone back to the hotel and start the next day. And we've got fingers and toes crossed and everything else that the weather dissipates and we can leave the following day. And that is what happened. So it is an option, but just know that it's, you know, again, Mother Nature rules the world, and that can happen. That can happen.
It can, and yet I found too that that was part of the adventure, the changes that had to happen, where the captain comes on and he says, "So, you know what? We've decided to get a little bit ahead of some rough weather, and so we're going to take off now. So you're going to see something different this afternoon." And I love how they take the passengers' safety and well-being into consideration. Never ever felt unsafe. Love, and actually, what no one ever talks about is underneath that green jacket there is the most fantastic vest. And if anyone ever walks around Petaluma, close to where I live, you're going to see me walking with that vest in the morning because it's the best vest. And you can wear it without the jacket. So just saying. So lots of fun things. There's also a question here regarding Tahiti, and let me quickly read this. So it says, is there a best time to visit Tahiti, I guess is the summary of this question.
So I will say that the average temperature year round is 80 degrees. So
Uh,
it's not really, you know, ever really a bad time to go. I will say that like during the winter months, like January, February, December, you may get a little bit more humid, you know, make it a little bit more humid and you may get a little liquid sunshine there, but it's just an absolutely stunning place to go. You can't base it on weather, I don't think.
wish I could share a picture, and unfortunately, it's only by mind. Walking, they recommended that we walked. I said we want a little beach where we can just go and snorkel. And so they recommended, and so we walked down through a neighborhood and out through, and they said, make sure when you see this tree, you'll recognize it,
Mhm.
and you turn there, and then you go down. I thought, I'll never find this. We did, and we went into this little bay, and it suddenly starts with a downpour, which can happen. It was the most warm downpour you've ever seen, but we went ahead and went into the water anyway. And the most striking image I've ever seen is the streaking of raindrops through the surface of the water.
Mm,
It was simply stunning. Shooting stars have nothing on this. It was really, really beautiful. So I have to say that even in the worst weather, it's downright gorgeous.
really is.
That's great. Let's see. Sorry, trying to read through some of these. I think we've answered a lot of these questions already. Um, it says here for Tahiti, is the airfare included? You talk about Los Angeles. Is the airfare included from Los Angeles?
No, we do not include airfare. We, you know, at one point, years ago, we did from Los Angeles, but there are just so many options to get there. Like if you're, you know, in Northern California, that's there's United has an option from San Francisco. We partner with Air Tahiti Nui. We have a partnership with them where we have, you know, some rates for Air Tahiti Nui from Los Angeles. But also Delta goes there seasonally as well from Los Angeles. So there's just you know, a lot more options that are out there to get to Tahiti. So I we do not include air. We do have a separate air package, and I just want to say with our air package from LA to Tahiti, if you do decide to purchase air with us, our rate includes a day room and it also includes transfers as well. So that's a great option too.
Those are good things to note. I know that in Tahiti, flights land at really weird times. I think there's one that's like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
There's one that's 1 o'clock in the morning. So there's some interesting times for flights. And I know that United also flies occasionally. It's seasonal, nonstop from San Francisco. So for those of us
Yes.
here in the Bay Area, there's opportunities to do that. And because we've been there so much, the manager at the Intercontinental in Papayete, I have his email address, and we
Mm-hmm.
say we need a day room. So there's great connections that we have with the people there. Um, and one of the questions that is in the chat box is, are either of you, and I can answer this, but I'll let you, are either of your cruise lines associated with any other cruise lines? And I think what they mean is, are you in a family with other cruise lines?
I am, we have a sister brand of Panat Cruises, so we are a part of, since in 2019, we were purchased by Panat Cruises, so that is our sister brand.
Great. All righty. And Nikki, you guys are Atlas Atlas.
We are Atlas. Yeah, we are the North American division of a Portuguese company. So no, we do not have any other brands.
Right. And I think what's really special about that, quite frankly, is that you can be exactly who you are. Oftentimes we forget that when there are multiple cruise lines that have lots of different cruise lines within them, within a parent company, that sometimes they have to mold themselves to be part of that, where each of your companies is very distinct, run very independently, and very focused, very really well focused on what you do. Um, and I do know, folks, I see that we're over our time. I do see there's a couple other questions in the chat. Some of them I'm just going to go ahead and respond to you directly. But I want to thank our hosts. So thank you, first, Lisa, for presenting from Paul Gauguin. We are so grateful, and I'm sure all of our guests are thinking the same thing, is when can I be there? That's what I always say when I look at that picture. And I have to say the same thing, but different, right, for Nikki? Thank you again for presenting the polar region. So we have a little bit of fire and ice here going on. Um, but I would challenge anyone and everyone to try to do both of them and see just how exceptional the world can be when you see it through the lens either of the polar regions or the French Polynesian Islands. So again, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your time. And for everyone who has joined us today, I want to thank you so much. We have recorded this session. So if you would like to copy the recording, just reach out to us and we'll try to get that out to you as quickly as possible. But thank you for joining us. We look forward to all of your questions. So bring them on. I'm going to leave you with one last slide, and this one has our telephone number. So if you all want to take a quick snapshot of that with your cell phone, we are very grateful to be a leader in the travel industry. And again, our team, we're so proud of them. They have just an expanse of experience that's going to help make sure that you get everything that you need to make your adventure just perfect. So give us a call, 877-651-7447. That's a special line that we answer for our wine cruises and our expedition and special adventures. So thank you so much. Appreciate your time and look forward to chatting with you about your next adventure.